If you're not having fun while learning a language, then I would argue that you're not doing something right. Now, we all know that language learning is a very long journey. Like, you're going to spend hundreds, if not thousands, of hours, learning your language until you get to a point where, you can use it in your everyday life, so to speak. So, if you're not enjoying that time that you're spending every day learning your language, then eventually it's going to reach a point where you're going to burn out and you're just going to completely abandon the language altogether. Now, I speak from experience. There were many times in my language learning journey where I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. Like, I was kind of frustrated, I wasn't making a ton of progress. So, unsurprisingly, I ended up quitting, and I quitted a lot over the years. Just to give you an idea, I had created my Duolingo account back in 2014. So I've been interested in like learning languages, and of course I've did language learning in school and stuff. So I had a ton of exposure to this, but I just had a hard time enjoying the process. But it wasn't until relatively recently, back in 2023, once I found a method that worked for me with learning languages, I found out learning languages can be extremely enjoyable. And one of the most enjoyable things that I do that helps me with learning languages is being able to consume interesting content. So that could be either videos, it could be podcasts, it could be books, you know, being able to just consume interesting content in my target language really just went a long way towards me enjoying the process. Being able to like notice my gradual improvements. Like sometimes like it'll seem like for a while that you may not be making a ton of improvement, but you'll notice like jumps here and there where it just seems like things are just really starting to click. So my recommendation, like if you're not enjoying your language learning journey, then you really need to take a step back and try and ask yourself, like, what are some things that you already enjoy doing that you can do in your target language? So, to give you an example, let's say like you're really into cooking and stuff. Maybe you can go and you can look up cooking channels, like cooking YouTube channels that you could watch in your target language, or maybe you could find like an interesting cookbook that you can go and look at, or maybe listen to like a podcast about cooking, or what have you. By finding things that you already enjoy doing it and doing it in your target language, that's going to not only help the thing that you already enjoy doing, but it's also going to help your language learning at the same time. So it's kind of a win-win situation. Now, if you need more like structure or more guidance on how to go about doing your language learning in a way that can be enjoyable, I actually created a video on how you can go and learn a language in just 1 hour per day. You should see a link to that down below. Just click on that link and it'll take you straight to the video.